Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to another episode of the Returning Home podcast with Lin Lim. And in today's episode, we're going to be diving deep in a topic that is so near and dear to my heart. And it is about claiming your birthrights, freedom, abundance, health, love, and passion, living with purpose. And now, I've been on this journey for quite a while, I can say now. And within that journey, there's so much that I have learned that I wish some people were able to guide me with and help me with when I was moving through all these difficult emotions and stages in my life and moving through a spiritual awakening and not knowing what was happening to me. And so in this episode, I'm going to break down for you some of those lessons that I learned that I'm pretty damn sure that will help you. And these lessons are so deep, and I'm so excited and honored to share that with you today. And I think without further ado, let's hop right into it. It's no accident that you are here. And with that, I don't mean that you're here listening to this episode, and also that you're here on this planet within this time, this very special, beautiful time in which a lot is happening on our planet, off our planet, within the universe, and most probably within you if you are here listening. And so, what I mean with that is that nothing happens by accident. There is a specific reason why you're here. There is a specific reason that you're going through what you're growing through right now. And so, what does this all mean? Well, let me just tell you some of my experiences. And I really hope that this will resonate with you. And if you're listening, I'm pretty sure that it will. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So, I've been on this journey quite a while. And if you guys watch my YouTube videos, you probably know that a couple of years ago, at the start of my 20s, I was moving through depression. And that's such a strange thing for me to think about right now, because who I am today and how my life is today, it's so completely the opposite of that. But what I learned from that is a lot of different lessons. And, in short, in a nutshell, what happened to me was when I was finding myself in depression, I basically made a shift within myself that brought me to traveling the world. That was just one thing, but then also experiencing the exact opposite of depression, which was freedom. It's from not seeing the reason why you want to be here, going to a place where you feel so alive that you really feel that you want to climb up every mountain that you see. You want to cliff jump from every rock in the ocean. And I mean that in a good way. Like, so full of life that you're so mesmerized by it all. And you're so deeply, profoundly grateful for being alive. You can't wait to wake up until it's the next day. You're laying in bed during the night with butterflies in your stomach because you're so excited about what the next day could bring. That's what I experienced. And so, what I can say is that freedom really is found within. And, I always thought that if I would travel to different places, then I would be happier. If I was surrounded with palm trees and crystal blue oceans, that I would be happy. But that's just not the case. And I know that a lot of us know that. But then often we find ourselves in our day-to-day lives where we can't help to dream about all the things that we like to experience, all the things that we would like to do in this moment. And we somehow forget to be present and think about, the grass is always greener at the other side. And because I've been so fortunate to be traveling a lot, what I know is that you can be in the most tropical, beautiful environment and you're able to feel as shitty as you can. What I'm saying is that wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, you're going to take your emotions, your baggage with you. So there's no way of escaping how you feel. And you can be surrounded with all these beautiful things. You can finally be where you want to be and still not feel it. And sometimes what we need to experience to discover that is that. It's experiencing that, oh wait, it's not better here. It's actually the same thing over and over again. And so freedom is a place that is found within. That's why we have to learn to be grateful now. That's why we have to learn to accept the present moment and really feel into what do we need? Why is it that we feel this way? I know we'll go deeper into that in a little bit. The second lesson that I learned is your purpose finds you when you're living within your passions. And for a long time, I didn't know what my passions were because I wasn't raised in a way that I actually thought that there was space for my passions. I was just doing what everyone was doing, and I had a great life. I mean, I was very blessed and fortunate as a child. But the environment that I lived in or was growing up in didn't have that kind of mindset. No one was living for their passions. And so, how can we know what our passions are? How can we know what our talents are if there is not really stimulation from your environment? I mean, my parents always stimulated me to do the things that I was good at, and I was very fortunate to always be able to do a lot of different things. But then that didn't really last. And not because it wasn't possible, but just because the mindset of the culture that I lived in didn't allow for that thought to be expended. And so sometimes we have to live within the questions. We have to live within these answers. It's not about forcing yourself to discover what your passions are. It's about just following your intuition and have curiosity for life to be able to discover things that you really, really freaking enjoy. And that sparks a fire within you. So sometimes what you just need to do is change your environment, do different things, travel or go different places, read about different places. I mean, you don't even have to go somewhere else. Just expand your mind. Maybe even listening to a podcast like this. Sometimes that's all that we need in order to step into that journey of discovery, of figuring out what does bring me joy. What do I really love? What could I do for hours and hours at the time and still not be tired about it? And this is how I discovered my passions and my purpose. I remembering one day when I was traveling in Sri Lanka, I was meeting up with a friend who I didn't really know that long before, but this guy was also traveling there, and so we joined each other for a couple of days to discover this country. We came from the same country, so we had a lot of interesting experiences, and at that time I never really had someone ask me before, so what are you passionate about? What are your biggest dreams? I remember that he was asking me that question, and I just didn't know how to answer because I didn't even know that it was possible before. And so that started me thinking. So sometimes all what you need is the question, and then through wondering, through thinking about it, through just living and experiencing, you will find the answers. That's what I found. I found surfing. I found my love for the ocean. I felt how great my body felt in the water and how in flow I was with the ocean, how that healed me, how that brought me joy and passion and pure ecstasy, and how this put me into flow state. And more importantly, well, not really more importantly, but accidentally, I found my purpose through doing this. I found my purpose, which was freedom. Freedom for everyone. Freedom for every single one of you. Freedom spiritually, emotionally, physically, and in your finances. And that's why I do what I do. Because I genuinely believe that everyone has this birthright of being free, of doing the things that you love to do, of being able to monetize your passions, being loved, having great loving relationships in your life, and live with passion. So the third lesson that I learned within this journey was not only about freedom or feeling free and emotionally free and doing the things that I love to do. The third thing that I found was that I was dealing with chronic sinusitis for a very long time, and still this day I still experience it from time to time, but it's definitely not as bad as it used to be, because I used to be knocked out every other week or every second week, and it was annoying because I was living a great life. I was living more balance than I ever used to live before, and still I was experiencing some setbacks from my body. So I've had this journey of diving very deep into health and where our illnesses come from, and what I know for sure is that health issues are so much deeper than just the physical symptoms that we have. Our body that shows physical symptoms is actually telling us that it's wanting to get better. And that's such a different perspective from what we are being taught. We in the Western world, we think that our bodies are sick, but actually when our bodies are sick, it's a sign that it wants to get better. And our body has a natural healing blueprint. That's right, it is able to heal itself if we know how to allow it to do so. And what always fascinated me was that before any physical illness could manifest in anybody, in any one of us. It has roots within our energy field. Before anything, everything is energy, and this is the same for physical illnesses. So every illness is symbolic for something that has been bothering you, some energy that's not flowing quite freely through your body. And I learned this from Carolyn Myss, who wrote a beautiful book about the chakras and how our body is always communicating with us. So the lesson that I learned is your body isn't sick, it's trying to get better. And for me, when I was dealing with chronic sinusitis, I was really diving deep into, so what could this be? And there are so many things that it could be. It can be related to any emotions that you are suppressing. It can be related to you not being fully in alignment. It can be in past lives. It can be so many different things, but I'm inviting you that if your body is communicating something with you, that you start listening to it, that you start listening to its needs, and that you start researching what this could be. Because I've heard beautiful, miraculous stories over and over again of people healing themselves. Now, I started learning energy healing last a year ago, and what I found is that since I started to do that, and since I started to actually step into my purpose, my chronic sinusitis is starting to get better. And I find that really, really incredible, because it's chronic, okay? So it's supposed to be something that you can never get rid of in your life anymore. That's what chronic means. And so I want you to open up your mind, or I would like to invite you to open up your mind and think about some of the things that you may have been feeling in your body and what that could tell you. Because let me tell you, there's always something so much deeper than that. And by the way, there is such a huge correlation, and it's actually scientifically proven, that we get sick whenever we have an emotional imbalance. Because when we have an emotional imbalance, our immunity weakens, and that's when we get prone to things such as flu or other things. And getting the flu from time to time, I think it's really a good thing, because we allow our body to get stronger and to evolve with all the things that are out there. So being sick is not a bad thing always, right? But the most interesting thing is it helps us to understand so much better the deeper layers within ourselves, and we start to understand that health actually is our natural way of being. When you start healing yourself, your health will improve, because you start to allow more of the natural stream of wellness into your spirit. And that will radiate into all of your cells and will translate how you feel. Also, I used to have asthma. And when I started to shift my life, and I started to really do and focus on the things that I loved, this problem disappeared. And for some people who might be listening, it's kind of hard to believe, but I know it for sure, because I know this is my experience. And sometimes things are symbolic. The life that I was living literally didn't allow me to properly breathe, okay? Not only physically, but emotionally, spiritually. So I'd like to just plant the seed and invite you to think about these things and how this reflects to maybe some things in your own life. And the fourth thing that I learned on this journey is to love myself fully, and why this is so important. Because freedom, like I said at the start, you can have all the time freedom in the world. Okay, you can have all the financial freedom in the world. But if you don't love yourself fully, if you are suffering from within, then you're not going to be able to enjoy it as much. It's still not going to be the happiness that you were after. And what we need to learn, or what we have to learn when we start to love ourselves fully, is not just the surface level self-love kind of thing. Like I said, I was going through depression at the start of my 20s. And I know when you're in depression, you do the opposite from loving yourself. I hated myself, okay? I'm not saying just, some people say I hate this or I hate that. No, I deeply hated myself. And so I know how self-destructive that is. I mean, your confidence is basically not there. You don't like your body. You punish yourself. You are so self-critical that there's no self-love there. It's a terrible place to be. It's a terrible place to live in. Inside in a reality like that. So we have to deepen our self-compassion, and not just for the good parts or when we have good days. No, we have to feel that we can love ourselves, especially at the days that we don't. Especially at the days when your self-critic is dominant. This is how we can start to feel free within ourselves. If we start having compassion for ourselves, and we start understanding why we started to do things, why we started to show up in a certain way, most probably it's because you were forced at a certain time in your life to do that to protect yourself from getting hurt, from getting harm or in any way, to feel safe. And so loving yourself fully is so much deeper than just posting beautiful photos of your body on social media and saying that you love yourself, right? I'm not saying this to judge anyone who does that or whatever, but it's more so like we have to cultivate this unconditional love for ourselves, because this love is what's going to translate into every single aspect of your life. This is how you invite the wealth. This is how you invite the financial abundance, the love, and the passions into your life. It's through deepening your self-compassion. It's through healing and going through the layers of conditioning to that early childhood stuff that happened to you. And ultimately, if we learn to incorporate and really embody these things throughout our life, I do really believe that we get closer, or we unlock our birthrights. We unlock this unconditional freedom in our lives to be able to express ourselves fully, not in a conditioned way, not in a way where you still feel like there should be some protection, or you cannot really be free, or there's some limiting beliefs. No, in the most authentic, unconditional you way. And if you are able to express yourself like that, you invite into your life the abundant flow of money, of health, of love, of passion, and all the other beautiful things that are out there for you. So these were just 4 of the things that I started to learn and understand on such a deep level within my journey, because ultimately I learned that the journey of freedom is the journey of freedom within discovering yourself, discovering the depths of who you are, discovering your heart, your passions, and allowing yourself to manifest yourself. And that's what freedom is. And I do believe that you were born to have that. That's why you came here. You didn't come here just to suffer. You came here to temporarily suffer, to realize that there is an opposite of that. We cannot know one thing, one side of the experience, if we don't know what it's like to be on the other side. So for me to really understand what freedom is, I had to move through depression, because otherwise I wouldn't know what it was. I wouldn't even have the desire to be free, to be liberated from all these depressive thoughts and emotions. And so there is a big reason for you to be here. And I think when you're listening to this, I think that you know that deep down inside, this is true. You know this. You know that there's a reason for you to be here. And you know that this is the path. It's the path to your liberation, to your freedom, and to your fullness of life, and to express yourself in this life. There's probably so much more that I could share with you, but I think for today, this was something that I just really felt the calling to share with you. So I trust that if you've been listening to this, and if you are listening to this, that this message was meant for you at this time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and if you love this video, please give this episode a 5-star review. That would really help me to spread this message to all the people who need to hear it today. It literally takes a few seconds to do that, so thank you so much for doing so. And if you're watching on Spotify, please let me know in the comments if there were any aha moments. Where are you guys tuning in from? Let me know in the comments, because I'd love to get to know you. And if you have liked this video, please like this video and share this video with anyone who you think could benefit from this message right now. Maybe a community member, maybe a friend, maybe a loved one who could really resonate with this, and who is on this path of spiritual awakening and expansion and finding their liberation. I also wanted to say that I today officially have opened my merchandise channel. So if you feel like you want to wear conscious clothing with conscious quotes and messages to bring out to the world, then this is your opportunity to check out my merchandise channel in my spread shop. I'm literally so excited about all the things that I created. I feel like I want to wear everything. There are hoodies, to t-shirts, to sweaters, to bags, to stickers that you can stick on your computer, your laptops, or anywhere you want to go or want to remind yourself and want to affirm positivity into your life and those of others. So thank you so much for checking that out. You can find it in the link in the description below. And I think that was it for today, guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. Keep shining, keep growing, and keep being your beautiful self. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.